your ear's gonna fall off or something. It's not
You
good.
have leprosy.
Yep.
I looked it up on WebMD.
Yeah, you're either pregnant or have leprosy.
All right.
Pregnant.
3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody. We are live. This is Tabletop BS.
Mm-hmm.
And today we have with us MrHoward123 on Twitch. And I guess just start out by tell us a little bit about yourself.
Like you said, my name is MrHoward123. I am a variety streamer. I'm also a wrestling fan, and I try to work out here and there. But I really like fighting games. I stream a lot of fighting games. I do fighting game tutorial videos, and then I also play whatever I feel like playing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, good stuff. How long have you been doing it?
About since 2012.
So streaming since 2012?
Yes.
Okay, so how long have you been gaming then?
Since I was 4.
Good grief. Well done,
that's the way
sir.
to do it.
Well done.
Hey, if you find something that you love and you try to make it a job, is it really a job?
Yeah. So mainly combat fighting games, yeah?
Yeah.
So what are some names, some titles you like?
Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Marvel vs. Capcom,
Right.
Tekken.
Yep.
But Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom are my favorites.
Okay.
Right.
So favorite fighter?
Fighter. It depends on which version.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well,
So
I don't
you're
know
telling me
any of these
E
versions.
Honda, like verse 1, verse
I don't play E Honda in any game.
Okay.
First of all, but
Yeah.
in every version of the game,
Uh-huh.
there's different characters I play. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you had to pick, so I'm thinking M. Bison. I don't know. I love, those are the one video, I love those video games more than anything else. Combat, like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, absolutely.
Stand-up fighting games.
Yeah. So, but I'm terrible at them. So I'm thinking M. Bison, but that's probably a super elementary answer.
I mean, that was like Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
He's in Street Fighter 5 as well.
Watch out.
Right. He
So
also
what
makes it in the movie.
He does. Great. Not a good movie. So what is, so talk, which players do you like playing? Give me a couple.
In Street Fighter 5, I play Nash, which is he used to be Charlie, but he's Nash now.
Yep.
And I fool around with Ryu and fool around with Ibuki.
Yeah.
But Nash is my main.
So have you seen, it's Peter, what is it? It's like it's this comedian and he has all of these, it's kind of like a skit, right? And it's like Key and Peele, right? So he has all the Street Fighter guys come in and it's like, hey, we had these problems with legal. And he talks, he has Blanca come in, right? And he was like, hey, you can't electrocute people. Or anyway, so really, really funny. I'll find it. It's Peter something or other. But I'll make sure you get the link to it. It is hilarious. He has Ryu in there. And the whole thing with Ryu is he was like, hey, look, we're having a hard time with some of the ADA compliance, and we need to subtitle, some of the hearing impaired. So this is, I'm repeating, I'm not inventing.
Right.
Okay,
We did not create
so the guy's sitting there in the comedians. He's like, okay, so some of the hearing impaired players that we need, subtitles. And so he has them like, so what do you say when you uppercut somebody? And he says it, and you can't tell what it means. And then what do you do when you do the hurricane kick? And it is so funny, dude. It is absolutely. But he has all the characters with M Bison is in there. He has M Bison come in, and you can tell it's old because he's like, look, you want to fly everybody out to all these locations, right? Do you need to go to Spain to fight Vega? What if we just fly everybody into Vegas? And the accountants are having a really hard time making sense. But anyway, obviously I'm not nailing the delivery because it's a hilarious little bit.
We're going to have to look that up then.
Yeah, I need that.
Yeah,
So-
I'll make sure you get it.
Okay.
So big Street Fighter, big Mortal Kombat. What made you want to start streaming?
And
So streaming in 2012, what did that look like?
well, for me, I can tell you how it looked for me. When I first got here, there's a website called the SRK. And it's where all the fighting game players go, look for information, look for gatherings, look for that. This was before Facebook.
Right.
I mean, Facebook was big, but it wasn't like big with the groups.
Yeah, it was
Right.
Tinder.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
like stalking your old girlfriend.
It wasn't a place
yeah.
to collaborate.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I found Street Fighter players in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And I started going to their gatherings and stuff like that. And back then I didn't really stream. I just had
Yeah.
like a Hapag recorder or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And they were playing all these matches, and I'm like, man, you got. And I was horrible back then, by the way.
Really?
Like, I was horrible. Like I was the type of person that could beat all my friends.
Yeah.
But I didn't know.
Once you get into like where this is a competition.
Yeah, the competitive side of it, I had like no knowledge of.
Okay.
So when I got there, I was like, damn, y'all are really good, and I was like, I can't hang with you guys.
Yeah.
I was like, but I'll tell you what, I can record your matches for you.
Yeah.
So I started recording their
Oh.
matches and started recording. Like they'll have tournaments, I'll record their matches and put it on YouTube, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So because no one else was doing it.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
started doing that. Then eventually I started getting actual hardware for streaming, and eventually it just got better and better. And then I started streaming their events.
So how much better did Twitch improve when it was purchased by Amazon? Did you notice a big
No.
increase? No.
I didn't. I mean,
Man.
the biggest thing I noticed is when they did the Amazon Prime thing and they
Yeah.
started doing the free subs.
Yep.
That helped out a lot, like as far as income with streamers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Because a lot of people, they didn't want to just throw $5 to somebody they didn't know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Right.
then they had the free Prime. It was like, well, I'll give it to you because I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not using it. So
Yeah. I keep
So
waiting for
that
them to for that to auto renew instead of like having to go back and like
Yeah,
because every month, dude, I'm not kidding, man. I'm like, how do I use my Amazon Prime? Blah, blah, blah.
I literally
You know?
call people. I'm like, hey, can you
Yeah.
resub for me?
Yeah.
Resub for me? Like,
Yeah, man, for sure.
And then another thing was like I was calling friends that aren't in the games, but they have Amazon Prime. I was like,
Right, yeah.
create a Twitch account.
Like,
Yeah.
and if you
And
don't, I
it's
know you have
free.
$5, right?
It's free, and it literally, gives me a little side money.
Right.
Yeah, so
exactly.
they take 30%. What do they take?
No, it's
I think it's
$2.
half. Isn't it half? I think it's $250.
Look,
Oh,
if
okay,
you're
cool.
asking us, I don't know.
I thought it was $250. I might.
No one
No, you
follows
know what?
my
I-
Twitch account.
I do think it's right because
Yeah.
it is half, and
Yeah.
I think that the subscriptions now are $5. I think they used to be $4,
Something
and then
like
they
that,
just
yeah.
went up to $5.
So so 2012, right? Super. I mean, you were just going to meetups, right? So
Yeah,
you guys,
yeah.
you hook up with people on MySpace, and then you go to some get together. What was that like? Because you're a cool looking guy, right? Then you go and you're like, you just followed the BO. Like, how did you find the groups? Like what? Because look, I mean, let's be stereotypical, right? Some of those are true.
Well, yeah, some
So-
of them are true, but
A lot of guys just like you.
okay. To paint the picture, in 2012, I was 40 pounds lighter than I am now.
Oh,
So
Whoa.
I was bony, scrawny,
Yeah,
very shy, soft-spoken, didn't speak to anybody. I was comfortable typing on a keyboard, but
Yeah.
like speaking to people in person, it was just like not my thing. But luckily, a lot of gamers are like that.
Yeah.
They're the same way. So
Right.
eventually I got comfortable. But it was weird at first, but then it felt cool because everybody there was into the same thing I was into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So how do you deal with? So did you feel? Oh, sorry. Did you feel like a stereotypical nerd, right? A gamer. Do you know what I mean?
like going into that,
Look, have you ever been to a Comic-Con or something?
yes.
Okay.
And I've cosplayed at a Comic-Con.
Oh, see, so
Right,
so
okay.
how do you feel? Because this is something people when they find out like you play Dungeons and Dragons, yeah, and I read comic books actively. And
Yeah.
if I was better at video games, I'd play video games. I'm terrible at them. So people are like, what? You know, and so
I
that's
get
me.
that a lot. I get
Yeah.
that a lot.
So how did you handle that? Is it something you actively go out and try to change? What about in your own community and family? I mean, I'd be really interested to know how you tackle that.
I never thought of it as something to tackle. Like I have Baby Mario and Yoshi tattooed on my arm, and then
so you're not hiding it.
I have a Proto Man from Mega Man. Yeah, exactly.
Well done, sir.
I'm not hiding it at all. So a lot of times people.
So is that 40 pounds lighter? Or are these new?
They're not 40 pounds lighter,
Yeah.
but they're not new. They're about
Okay.
3 years old.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
In the journey.
Yeah.
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 So like a lot of people hear that I'm a gamer, or they'll find out that I'm a gamer, or I'll meet somebody and then they request me as a friend on Facebook, and then they see the gamer stuff
Like
on
your
it.
stream, yeah.
Yeah, or like that right there where he just pulled up.
Yep.
The background, like,
Is this
Yeah.
you cosplaying as Spider-Man?
yes, that's me.
Oh,
Cosplay
that's
is-
fantastic.
Dude.
And I'm at a tournament right there.
So was it hard to see?
Yes.
Did you did you use that as an excuse of why you lost?
I didn't lose. What do you?
Oh,
That is how good he is.
I am ashamed. Yeah, I am ashamed.
Spider-Man.
So you have a Spider-Man costume, but there is a Deadpool pose that I saw.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, here we go.
That guy.
I mean,
A little,
yeah.
a little-
If you got it, you got to flaunt it.
Hey,
That's the-
I love Spider-Man, but I do act like Deadpool.
Okay,
So,
how did you feel about it? Do you read Spider-Man right now?
No.
So
Not anymore.
Okay, so Brian Bendez, right, used to write for Spider-Man. Fantastic. He wrote the new Spider-Man. He was it's like an alternate universe. He was Hispanic. Great author. But there are people who love and hate him. But if you don't actively read, then that's
No.
not a
Talking
relevant
about Miles
conversation.
Morales?
Yeah, Miles Morales. Yeah,
Oh, my gosh.
yeah,
I love Miles.
yeah, yeah. It's amazing. So 40 pounds lighter. You start going. You start kind of like your buy-in is streaming for these guys, and then you start competing. Like, are you just learning? Are you practicing?
I'm learning. I basically learn from the people in the community. Like,
Yeah.
asking them questions and like how to play, what to do, and I eventually learned how to play.
Yeah.
And then I
Now you
started
were already the best of your friends.
my friends, yes,
Yeah.
that weren't. They were gamers, but they weren't fighting game players.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Benji and Steve, you want to?
You guys want to
Yeah.
come over and play some
Okay.
Mario Kart?
Got it. Okay,
As,
good.
as,
the
ca- as
best.
casual can get. That's how
Sure.
my friends were when it came to fighting games.
Okay.
So,
Oh, okay.
and then when I got to the FGC, the fighting game community here, yeah, they kind of blew my mind, and then I just learned as much as I could from them, and then I started competing with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just moved down from, well, I was most recently in Portland, right? And because it's so cold and so dark, right, and gloomy. If it's not, even in the summer, it'll rain, right? Beautiful, but it you got a lot of indoors kids,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so huge gaming community, huge everything, right? That's a big deal. Comic-Cons are enormous, and they have PAX. Everything's great up there. So one of the things that they would have, and I wish I could have played, but I was like you, 40 pounds ago, but not lost. Anyway, so I wish I was
how
like
many
you,
kids ago?
because they had, like, you would go in these Comic-Cons and they would have a whole section of just people playing Tekken. Or
Yeah.
people
Right.
playing, because there's other than like Mario Kart, it's like, hey, let's versus, and there is no other, like, you can't play Elder Scrolls or The Witcher, right? That's not collaborative. But
No RPG players there.
yeah, so
Arcade
who did Capcom? Who's the developer for the Capcom? Who developed Tekken?
Namco.
Okay, so Namco was just coming out with like the new Tekken. Which number is it? Like 34,
Seven.
like I said. And but it's a lot though. And
Right.
but they were debuting it there, and so they had guys like you slaying on it, right? Doing these tricks. You're like, how did you know this? Like, how'd you find the moves? Anyway, I would love to have been like that, but I was like super bashful. I'm like, I'm gonna go there and stand in line and then be killed. Like, that guy, he shot fireballs out of his hands. Like, how did he do that? So
Well, the gatherings I went to when I first I moved to San Antonio in 2010, and then eventually, like, I found on SRK, and it was at someone's house, so it wasn't like a big open thing where people were just coming up and standing in line and stuff. It was we had a whole bunch of
the
setups.
attorney was at a house.
Well, the gathering. Well, we have gatherings where we just play and learn and things like that, and then we have tournaments elsewhere. But this was just a house gathering, and we were at a house, and there were like 7, 8, 9 setups.
Yeah.
For the game, and you just sit down with somebody and you just play for hours learning. So
That is awesome.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
You lose, then they tell you why you lost, then you try
Yeah.
again.
Super helpful community.
Yeah. Super
So how many FGC? So how many members active do you see at a gathering like that?
It depends. It really depends. It depends on where it is. Like we don't have to meet up in houses anymore. So we meet at Otaku Cafe.
Yeah.
Which you've heard of that place?
Yeah.
Okay, we meet there. We meet there on Wednesdays and Sundays.
Yeah.
So we play, and then we have a monthly, the last Saturday of every month, where we do a big tournament.
Yeah. Is it like everybody buys in, or
Yeah. You pay an entry fee to get into the venue. I don't remember how much it is, but because if you bring a setup, you get in for free, and I usually bring a setup.
Yeah.
So you get in for free, and then you pay $10 for whatever game you want to play.
Yeah.
So they usually have 4 to 5 games every.
Yeah. See, I would need something that was controlled like that. Otherwise, I'd lose my hehouse. I'm like, here's my Audi, right? Like, there you go. Yeah, it'd be bad, and I would lose
slips.
it. Yeah, it would be very bad. I owe you. So,
so at these championships, it's cash prizes and everything.
Oh yeah. We pay $10 per game, so the $10 goes into the pot, and however many people, if 20 people is $200 in the pot, and then they split it either 60 30 10 or 70 20 10 for first, second, and third place.
Most amount of money you won at a monthly meetup. This is the sales pitch for FGC. You're gonna have massive. All 2 viewers of the podcast are going to have.
I don't want to disclose that information.
Okay. How about
it's a very small amount though? Yeah. Because third place
north of 100.
No, not at a local.
No. Okay. So it's reasonable.
Yeah.
Right. You're buying some pizzas and having fun.
Yeah.
So, talk to me about the demographic of a normal meetup, right? So girls, guys, ages.
It's usually guys, maybe 18 to
not 18.
How old am I?
38.
Yeah, I'm 38. I'm 38.
I'm not 38, but
238.
Yeah, 238, 40 even. And then the girls usually consist of the guys' girlfriends that they bring. So.
What is that? Because it's kind of like, oh, hey, we're gonna go watch a family movie, and then you take them to like Deadpool, and they're like, what? How surprised are the females when they go?
It's a lot different now. Usually the females already know. They already know what their counterpart is into. They know what to expect. They know that he's gonna go over there and sit down, and I'm gonna sit back here and chill on my phone and play Candy Crush or whatever she does.
Brother Howard has a Yoji tattoo. Got it.
So what's funny is, so I love all things video games, but I played Mortal Kombat versus my wife like years ago, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stop her. She doesn't know what she's doing. I couldn't get a punch in. I couldn't get up. She was Scorpion in Mortal Kombat, and she just kept getting over here every time. I would get up. I'm like, I'm pushing back. I should be able to block this.
Yeah,
that's not how you block in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, no. It lasted a whole like 30 seconds of her winning like 3 rounds in a row. I was like, okay, all right, well, I guess I'm never playing this again.
Yeah. So how do you
so she would take
that?
me to this fighting game.
Yeah. Well, and come home with $40. Yeah, so how do you how do you stop the getting angry? My wife and I play Dark to Mario, and it gets it can get rough.
It's a pretty passive.
Yeah, somebody's sleeping on the couch, and so how do you stay cool, especially in like a learning environment like that?
Well, if you're in a learning environment, you're learning, and if someone's beating you, you need to learn how to beat them. You need to learn what you're doing wrong, and like whenever you get into something competitive, you have to always know that there's always going to be somebody better than you.
Yep,
and finding someone, if you're the best in your city or wherever you are, then you're not going to learn anything.
Yeah.
So
who is the best in San Antonio?
Depends on
who needs to go move to the East Coast.
It's a different person for every game.
Okay.
So, like I really can't say.
Yeah. Look at how diplomatic he's being.
He is being.
He doesn't want to get blacklisted.
He's cautious. Yeah. I mean, You don't want to get uninvited from El Taco Cafe.
No.
El Taco.
No.
What?
What was the place?
I don't think he's been there before.
I've never been
Roger.
there.
I don't think you'll eat. I mean, we are in San Antonio, but it's not called El Taco.
I normally go to Torchy's Tacos or Los Palitos. Like, those are my two go-to places.
Yeah. So next time, all you have to do is when you go there, right, go to El Palito and be like, hey, where's the FGC meetup group for the video games?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, just ask them. They'll point it to you.
I'm sure that
They'll tell you where it's at.
The chef at least will know.
For sure. Yep. Just ask the maitre d', right? So, been playing since you were 4. Actively trying to get better in the part of the community since 2012.
Yeah.
So what have you seen change since 2012 over the 7 years, 2019?
Me or with the
Everything. Well, what has changed? How has the community changed over the past 7 years?
changed significantly. When I first got here, like I said, we were gathering in people's houses, and then eventually I started hosting in my own place, and because it got to a point where I upgraded my streaming equipment,
Right.
and I had like all this kind of stuff here, and it was like, look, I'm not taking this stuff everywhere.
An hour to set this up.
Like,
Yeah, you don't have a roadie crew.
Yeah.
yeah, so eventually it was like, y'all just come to my place and I'll stream it or whatever. And so then at that point we didn't have a place to meet, so it had to be in people's homes.
Yeah.
So then eventually we started talking to bars and restaurants and things like that, and like there's places that don't really have that much business. So when I tell them like, oh, we got 20 to 50 people that will come and we're going to bring our games and set up and play here, and then we'll buy food and drinks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're like, sure, come on.
Yeah.
Because like if you got a place that has like one or two people on a Friday night, then they're like hungry for something like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Maybe you should go to El Taco.
So,
That's actually on the southeast side of San Antonio. So that's
so yeah, we started. We went from apartments and houses to bars and things like that, and we were playing.
So you received really well for the most part, right?
Yeah.
And obviously you're bringing business and stuff.
Right,
You just need a
right.
place to set up and kind of just a quarantined area, right? So people don't spill drinks or whatever.
Yeah.
How has I'm interested, the 40 extra pounds of muscle, has that come because of this or just
No.
Okay.
It's totally something.
that's the pro wrestling side. You want to be able to do what Nash does in there. So you
I just want to look good naked. That's all.
Yeah.
that's 100% why I go to the gym.
yeah. Yeah.
I got to a point where I was like, I don't like what I'm seeing, so gotta.
Yeah. Yeah, that is probably the only hill that's easier to climb up than down. I've got all this weight. How do I get it off?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
so totally different. That's cool. Tell me, going back to the demographics of this FGC or these meetups and stuff. I know at gaming cons or something like that, or even Comic Cons, you'll see a totally wide variety of professionals or people that are, they're entrepreneurs, aka unemployed or something,
Yeah.
And even now, right? So we've seen, dentists and majors in the military and, all kinds of people. What's common or what seems to attract specifically these streamers, right, who play fighting games? Or is it everything?
It's everything, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
People from all walks of life.
yeah. We have people in the military. We have police officers.
Yeah.
I'm a truck driver.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have all types of people, and also like when we do our meetups at bars, a lot of different people that don't even play fighting games, but they're into games, or they know somebody that's into games, or those girlfriends that tag along. They're more willing to come if we're at a bar because they can just go over to the bar.
Right.
Yeah. So it's getting bigger than like at our major tournaments. They're getting big like cons.
Yeah.
And so other people can come that aren't even playing and still have a good time. So it's and then eventually they're like, oh, teach me how to do this and teach me how to do that, and then they start learning how to play. So,
Yeah. So how long before you got good over those 7 years?
I'm still not good, but
Okay. Well, I'm not interested in ever starting the journey because, like, if I do something for 7 years, I better get a doctorate or something, right?
No, I've gotten way better. Like, I guess when I got here, it took maybe a year, and I got like way better than I was.
So
like,
super fast.
It's super fast. Like when I actually started learning the ins and outs of a fighting game and how you're supposed to play it, how you're supposed to think about it, it kind of completely changed my perspective of like what a fighting game is.
Yeah.
And I'm still nowhere near the best in San Antonio, but I'm like, if I played myself, like I would get perfects on me every time. Like,
Really?
Yeah, like and then like I even went back home because I'm from Georgia. I moved here to San Antonio in 2010.
Gorgeous.
I went back and played my friends there and murdered them. Like,
Yeah.
And I wasn't even better than them. Like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I was better than them, but then there was a few people that I knew like from other cities that were better than me, and like. No contest. Like, you're like, man, what's going on in San Antonio?
This isn't even my final form.
Exactly. It's like I'm not even using my main character. So
I haven't played Nash yet. So, what brought you to San Antonio from Georgia? Job, work?
My family, my sister, she was in the Navy. She retired and moved here.
Okay.
So I moved
Just
here
family.
to be closer to her. Yeah.
All right.
And then what about moving back or going back? Are you ever interested? I mean, so Georgia's super humid is probably the only thing. Other than that, it's stunning.
Yeah. I love Georgia. A lot of my friends are there.
Great barbecue.
Yeah. I love the place. It's just I've carved out a life here. So it's kind of hard for me to just leave everything that I built here. Because before I got here, I wasn't really doing big things for myself. I wasn't really an adult.
Yep. Checking account. What in the...
So coming here, I kind of built a life for myself. So it's kind of hard for me to just throw it away. And
for sure.
Back, you know?
Yeah. So you're here now. You're home. This is home.
Yeah.
What about, I think, what does your sister think about it? About you being involved in the FGC and like getting on MySpace and meeting people who play video games? I'm an absolute nerd. Like, it is not hard to throw stones at me. I live in a glass house.
She's known that I've been a gamer since I was 4. Yeah. Like I remember, this is a funny story because she's not into games or whatever, but she knows I am. She's 8 years older than me. So when I was in elementary school, she was in high school. Yeah. She worked at Foot Locker in the mall.
Oh, all right.
And I remember I'd be home playing Mortal Kombat, the first Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
And then
which is still a great game, by the way. Okay, well, that's the only one I know how to play.
It's hard to go back after so many advances in the graphics and the moves and the characters.
So yeah, she would come home from work from the mall, and there's an arcade in the mall, and she comes home. She's like, "I saw Mortal Kombat 2 in the arcade today," and I'm like, "What?" I was like, "Really? Like,
how dare you? How dare you tease me?"
Because we didn't have internet back then, and I didn't know Mortal Kombat 2 was coming out. And she's like, "Yeah, I saw it." And then I was, she's like, "Yeah, they don't have Sonya in the game. They have Katana and Melina, and they have the girl that she could blow air and throw you up in the air and throw fans at you. Yeah. And Sub-Zero, he could throw his ice on the ground now." And I'm like, "You're lying. You're lying." Like, and she's like, yeah. And she would like go in the arcade and like look at stuff that she know I would like, and she'd come home and brag to me that she's seen it.
Oh man!
And that
I gotta work at Foot Locker, man.
I gotta work at Foot.
So yeah,
so she's not surprised.
She's not surprised at all. Yeah.
Good, man. That's how families should be and friends should be. You know.
Yeah.
So I do like how we talk about it. How like we are talking about it like other people used to talk about being homosexual 30 years ago. Do they know? Like, are you? So how? So
whole different
do you,
now.
Yeah, totally.
Nobody cares.
So long haul trucking, or do you do day trucks? What do you do? And how does that affect your gaming?
It affects my gaming tremendously. I used to drive over the road. When I first started driving, I drove over the road, and I started driving in 2011. So it was kind of like when I first got into the community and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I would be gone for weeks at a time and then come back and play. And then they're like, "Did you practice?" I'm like, "No, I was driving."
Yeah.
And
We can tell.
so so it was it, and I would always like look on Facebook and stuff like that, and they have pictures. Oh, we're at this gathering and we're at this party
Yep.
and we're at this
man.
tournament, and I'm like driving. I'm like, I wish I could go to that.
Yeah.
But-
Through El Paso.
So and I was
hate my
going.
life.
And I was driving cross country, so I was California, Ohio, Georgia, like going all around. Like, so eventually I did. I mean, after 3 months, I got a new job with a company that would allow me to go home every day. So,
Did you ever want to bring, like, there was a buddy of mine, I ran a big construction company for a while, and one of the guys, he brought like his console and a TV, and that's what he did.
I brought mine. Yes.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
I guess
but-
it's not hard. It's hard, though, if you're playing the computer.
It's
Hard to do it while you're driving, especially.
Yeah, it's hard to do it while you're driving.
That is
and-
not yeah. Okay.
And it's hard to set up your. Back then it was Xbox 360, so it's hard to set up that and your TV in a truck.
Yeah.
And play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. There's basically just a space for a bed.
Yeah,
back in that,
exactly. And then like you would stop at a rest stop to where they have the showers, take your shower and stuff like that. But you don't really have time to just sit down and play video games.
Yeah,
So
you gotta be driving.
It was
So how much? So after 3 months, you said
about
3
3
years?
months.
Okay.
3 months. I changed jobs.
And so true or false, or just yes or no, specifically so that you could get better, so that you could play more.
False.
False. Okay, I don't know. Hey, there's zero judgment here. I've made many poor life decisions
I
for
have literally turned down higher paying jobs so that I can continue to play Dungeons and Dragons on a weekly basis.
Does your wife know that? Be quiet, man.
Yeah, hold on. You know what? She doesn't listen to the podcast.
Yeah,
She's
okay.
not in it, so we're good.
So, but okay, what percentage of it did it play into your decision, or it was just like a nice perk?
It was a perk.
Okay.
It didn't that I wanted to be home. Like I was calling the manager, like my driving manager, tell him like, look, I'm not making enough money for this.
Yeah.
I need to go home every day.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, most people, they don't even have an apartment. They just live in their truck and you don't have to pay bills. And I was like, no, that's not the life I want for myself.
Well, and there are people that love it.
Yeah.
There are people that genuinely love being nomads.
I'm not that.
Well, I agree, but I also think they shouldn't be sacrificing the cost of what they would be paying for a house just because they can live the lifestyle.
Totally.
I would see people who are doing that, they should, like, obviously those people are pocketing all of that money that would be going to a house instead of taking a pay cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not
totally.
They're not going to pay someone to be homeless for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
All right.
So, still a truck driver, still playing.
Yes.
When do you see the ability to obviously supplement some of your income? But when do you see the ability to transition maybe to doing something like that full time?
Streaming.
Yeah, or just something. Something even in that field. I mean, you were obviously super passionate about it.
Yeah.
Right? Living your dream, or
I really enjoy streaming, but I guess I also think like more. I don't know, like you want to have a house and a family and cars and all that other stuff, and if Twitch and YouTube isn't really providing that income for you to do that, you don't want to just jump into it and risk it all.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I need to keep my 9-to-5 job because that's what's making the money. But if I don't put the time into streaming, I'm never going to be a big streamer. So it's that battle. I don't know if I would, because right now I'm just streaming in my off time. Like I might stream maybe on a weekend, like that. And that
just once a week, maybe.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe just once a week.
Yep.
Sometimes I'll go a month without streaming at all.
Yeah.
Like because I'm working like all the time and then trying to work out
Yeah,
But,
that's, with a trucking lifestyle too. You can't like, oh, it's lunch. I'll just go on my lunch break.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, for sure.
He's in the car. He's like
Yeah.
over the top, like Sylvester Stallone.
That's what I would do for sure. And eventually he's able to do it full time.
Yeah, that's true.
So
resistance band in the window, just
like tied to like the rear view mirror, side view mirror, whatever. So and I think that's something that never before have humans been able to choose what it is they want to do with their lives, right?
Yeah.
So if your dad was a shoemaker, guess what? You was a shoemaker. If your mom was a nurse, most likely you became a nurse. And so now we can do these things and do things that it's like that you would never be able to make money.
Right.
Playing video games, and it's not even that. Somebody's paying you to watch you play video games.
Right.
And so what a neat opportunity to do that. And so I think it's one of the fascinating things that seems to come up in every podcast is like, this is something that somebody is super passionate about and they're slowly trying to make it what they do full time.
Yeah.
Talk to a guy Kerry Dunn, who's making an actual like analog board game. Right. And he's right there, but he's like play testing it and moving through. And he's like, I've thought about how to, it's just fascinating. It really is fascinating. Yeah. And I think people moving to that, Kiwi Star, I want to say it right.
Is this my word?
Kiwis and stars. Yes.
So Kiwis and
Kiwis and stars.
Yep. So she is slowly trying to transition that way, but that's hard to do. I think that's hard to do. And it's neat to watch people try to make that transition. I think you're being far more adult about it, which is good.
Yeah. No, that's definitely good. Like I can see, obviously you have a passion for it. So if it's hard to make Twitch, a full-time thing, it's a slow build to get all of the followers, people who are seeing you and they're like, oh man, this guy actually...
Especially now.
Yeah. And you're providing for all of those people who are watching you and subscribing and following what you were given when you first started showing up to these meetups, which was, hey, I'm doing this. This is how I can do this. And you could do it too. If I could do it, anyone could do it.
Yeah.
Constant progression. So like that's one awesome way to earn a revenue. That's just a side thing. Also, you're clearly very talented with event organization, getting people together, finding these bars that people are willing to. Please come in. We literally have 0 people here,
and I'm not the only one that did that. There's a lot of talented people in our community too. They're talented streamers. I probably was the first one in our community that streamed, but there's a lot of guys that stream now, and there's a lot of guys that organize things. I kind of quit doing the organizing and stuff because I was like, okay, I've done it for about 3 years now. I need to focus on my job. Yeah. So you guys could kind of get that together. And
this is how you do it.
Yeah. But we do have some people that are really like good at like them going to Otaku Cafe. I had nothing to do with that. They just popped up and like, we're going to Otaku Cafe on Wednesdays and Sundays, and we're having a monthly, the last Saturday of every month. And then we go to a bar called Mine Shaft, Magic Time Machine.
Yep.
We go to the Mine Shaft on Friday nights. I had nothing to do with that either. So they also meet at Gamers Paradise.
Yep. I know Gamers Paradise.
I have nothing to do with that. Like, I mean, I'll go and support it, but I didn't set those up. The community set them up. So they're really, taking control and moving forward with it, which I'm happy for.
So let's talk about some of the warts of Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat. What do you want to see changed? You're like, this is terrible. Stop putting E Honda in.
They stopped.
E Honda's not in. And one of my closest friends he wants them to put E Honda in Street Fighter 5, and I'm like, please don't. Don't. He's like, why? He's my favorite character. I don't care. Pick a different character.
Yep.
But I think a lot of the major things I want from some of these fighting games are not really. They don't really come from the competitive side of what I like. It's more of the single player content and stuff like Street Fighter. The story in Street Fighter 5 sucks.
Yeah.
it's horrible.
Yep.
It makes no sense.
Yep. It is like, remember when you beat Tetris and all of a sudden a Russian thing shoots off? You're like, this is a Russian like you have no idea what's going on. Yeah, it's bad.
It's so yeah. The story in Street Fighter V is bad, and on the flip side, Mortal Kombat, their story was pretty good. I mean, they kind of moved themselves into a corner, like creatively when it comes to the story. But you can tell they put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money into their story as opposed to Street Fighter.
Like they actually hired a writer.
Yeah,
right. They hired a writer. They had
they just asked a couple people even. Like, is it?
And they had actors come in and they did motion capture with those actors.
Oh,
and,
wow!
All of that, like it just kills me that you have games out here like Metal Gear and Last of Us and Uncharted and like now God of War,
Silent Hill. What's that guy's name? He's winning awards for that. The director of Silent Hill.
You talking about the movie? Or
Matakoto? No, the game.
The game?
Yeah, Hidekum. I don't know the guy's name. Anyway, but it's amazing. Anyway, yeah.
So yeah, you have games.
I'm killing it today with my details.
He's one of the listeners.
Golly.
So he's no longer a listener. He's
tough.
He doesn't even know it.
So you have games like that go all out with their stories, but then you have like Street Fighter that's one of the most well-known fighting game franchises, period, if not the most well-known one, and then they have that story.
Yeah.
I want them to up their game.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's that that's the biggest thing in their single player content. Like they have the competitive side down. Like it's perfect. I mean, I don't want to say perfect, but it's good.
Yeah.
And they just need to fix the other side.
Yeah. So the actual story, like the story mode, right?
The story mode, and then like all the single player content. The people who aren't talented in fighting games can still enjoy it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Would you like to see them, so, small, medium, hard, would you like to see them increase through, like, would you like to see them add more complexity to allow a single player to go through, maybe there's 11 stages instead of 3 stages of how hard do you want the competition to be?
Not
or is that balanced well enough?
I think that's fine. I think that part of it is fine. It's just when you put out a game, first of all, when Street Fighter V launched, the story mode was not in it.
What?
Yeah, there was no story mode. Street Fighter V, I think it was January. I think it launched in January, and the story mode was not put in until like June, something like that. So,
I mean,
forgot to fill
Mario Brothers had Donkey Kong has a story. Like, come on. Okay.
They didn't even have an arcade mode where you go up the ladder and fight all they had was versus mode and survival. Okay, that was it.
Wow.
So then they put the story mode in, and then it's like, okay, finally, people who want to play the game alone, they don't want to go online and get destroyed, and they don't really have friends to play with, but they like Street Fighter. Yeah. Now they finally have something they can play, but then it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. So what do you want to throw in the single player section? I don't know. I got it. Just have a dialogue where he just says, "Hey guys, you want to fight?"
Yeah, that's it.
It's like an anime. Just,
we'll save tons of cash.
Fighting? I don't know.
So you want to know what game I really am excited about coming or launching fighter game is Samurai Showdown.
Really?
Did you ever play Samurai Showdown?
Yes,
it's spectacular. It looks pretty crappy, like what I've seen so far. But I'm excited.
Is it exactly what it sounds like? You're just a bunch of samurais?
Yeah, it's like Street Fighter with swords. There's a dude like a fencing guy. Yeah,
so like Soul Calibur, but sides scrolling.
Yeah.
2D.
Yeah. 2D. Now I think that what I've seen anyway, and you don't ever know if it's going to be 2D or if it's going to be 3D. But the trailers that I've seen are 3D.
The models are 3D, but the fighting is 2D.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So how amateur am I for being so stoked about that? Does Samurai Showdown suck?
There's a lot of people that are excited about that game.
Yeah.
So
you should. Not him though.
No.
Well, I mean, I'm not excited for it. I think
Oh,
for
snuck up on
me, fighting games have changed so much since Samurai Showdown was a thing, and they're kind of keeping Samurai Showdown the same, but making it 3D, making it better graphics and stuff like that.
Bet the story mode's gonna be stellar, way better than Street Fighter 5.
It's gonna be like it's gonna go into ancient Japanese lore.
Oh, yeah, for
and it's
sure.
gonna
It's gonna be like Laura Croft finding
I don't
ninjas
know about
moves.
that. I don't know about that.
So that I'm excited about that. What game are you excited about coming up? What new announcements? What is it maybe you're most excited about?
The Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah.
Yes.
So why are they remaking it though? Why did they just? Was it just the best one?
The replayability of the storyline is on point. So
Okay.
to increase the graphical presentation,
Okay.
just
Yeah.
oh, it looks so good.
It was for a lot of people when Final Fantasy VII first came out. That was their first RPG game.
Right.
Like a lot of people didn't even know what RPG was before then. I didn't. I
Yeah.
didn't know. I played Zelda, but that was the most RPG you could get out of me until Final Fantasy VII came out. I was like, what is this? I'm selecting the moves.
Yeah.
Oh wow! And then like this game is this long. Like
Yeah.
so like I started playing and I felt that's when it made me fall in love with RPGs, and I started looking for other RPGs after I played that game. So
Yeah.
that game kind of is like it represents a time for a lot of people, and so they want to see it remade.
So nostalgia with.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of people who, weren't born when Final Fantasy VII came out. So now they're going to be able to experience it, and it's going to be in a new like a updated, up to date, like graphic style, gameplay style, kind of like how they did Resident Evil 2. I love Resident Evil 2. Back in the day, was probably like my second favorite Resident Evil game. And now it's my favorite, the one they remade. So it's like people are experiencing the game for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you don't know what it was back then. Back then it was tank controls, pixels, bad.
Oh man, the polygons, you could like, it was like 5 different shapes for the head, and that was it.
And everybody's hand was like this.
They were just, yeah.
The
So
Bob doll.
what's really interesting is like Final Fantasy VII, I do know there was a ton of people who just loved the game. I had already been playing RPGs for several years when it came out, and so when Final Fantasy VII, I was like, I don't really see it. But that was because I had played Final Fantasy 6, 5, 4, 3, or 3 is 6, 2, and 1.
Yeah.
And the storylines in those just so amazing. And then so when 7 came out, my little brother tried playing it, and I kept uninstalling the game because it was taking up too much space on the hard drive. So
Wow.
I'm excited for the remake because I finally get to actually go and play it all the way through
Yeah.
and allow my brother to play all the way through.
Wow.
That's pretty messed up, dude.
Well, he is going for his doctor's in psychology now. So I'm sure, some of that is coming back now through his therapy.
If you hadn't abused him, he would. What would he have to talk to his therapist about?
Yeah, exactly.
He wouldn't be. He would be less of a.
Well, maybe
psychiatrist.
it was best that he didn't go and because in the game you actually go and dress up like a female and you sneak into a whorehouse and
That's true. I maybe have been protecting him.
Yeah.
From.
So, maybe you'll get a thank you letter one day.
Yeah. Hey. It's like, hey,
Yeah,
I didn't know it at the time, but I could have been a cross-dresser this entire time.
Yeah. So if somebody, Mr. Howard,
Yes.
123,
yes.
check him out on Twitch. What other plugs we want to do? We don't want to keep you all night, brother.
I'm MrHoward123 on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, and then I'm MrHoward123 live because someone else took one. MrHoward123.
I thought you bought it. It was so good. I was like, geez, who has that? Yeah.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
And
Because
then,
I'm Mr. Howard 1234.
Super
but yeah, no, I tried to do it on YouTube and Facebook, like my Facebook page, but someone already took it, so I had to add live on the end of that. So.
And if somebody wanted to start your journey 7 years ago, just Google fighting games clubs, FGC. What do they Google? How do they get around the community?
To the community, I mean, you don't even have to go to Google. You just go to Facebook and type in like fighting game communities, and I'm sure wherever you are, there's probably a group in your city
Get
or
together.
state or close by or something like that, you know? Or you could just join. And then they have the big ones where everybody, like, from all across the world are in. So, yeah, you can just... Facebook is the best place.
That's awesome.
All right.
What else you got, Benj? Anything else?
No, I think that sums it up.
Mr. Howard123, anything else, brother?
No.
Thanks for coming out to hang out with us, man.
Excited to follow your journey here. So.
Yeah, dude.